Okay, it's summertime, and all I can think about right now is getting a nice big convertible. In particular, a convertible from the 1960s or 1950s, and I'm looking at convertibles that are under $20,000. So these are some active listings right now for some great looking convertibles under $20,000. So let's check them out. I want to know what you guys think, and I've also got some questions about these cars. So for example, what is this mystery car here? And then underneath one of the cars, they've got this here, and it kind of looks like we've got some forklift holes for lifting up a car with a forklift. I'm not too sure what that's all about. And then what's on top of this distributor cap here? I don't even know. And then one of the listings went out of its way to show us what this is. So when we get to these cars, if you guys know what these things are, leave it down in the comments below. So first up, we've got a 1964 Oldsmobile Cutlass F85 listed for $5,000. This one's in British Columbia, Canada. All the other cars are mostly in California, but all the other cars are in the United States. And just checking out this car, it looks pretty darn nice. The listing says that it's got a factory tach, factory console, power windows, power top, power steering, power brakes, and it was bought by a family friend. They don't know the history of the car, but it's been in the previous owner's family for 40 or 50 years, so that does definitely sound really good right there. And the listing says that it drives and runs really great and stops. There is, however, a bit of a concern here, perhaps, and that is that it says that it probably needs a new frame. The listing does say, however, that it does include a new frame. It's just not in the car, and likely some body work underneath. From the pictures, it looks pretty clean, pretty solid. I really like the interior. I think that the interior looks particularly good. But what do you guys think? Do you see anything in this interior that might be questionable? I really like the gear shift in this car. The listing also says that that's a factory tachometer that's there on the center console, so that's pretty cool. It says that the body and paint aren't perfect, but I mean, what do you expect with a car that's 50 years old? But it does say that it runs and drives and, works pretty well right now. So what do you guys think of this car that might have some rust issues? But I mean, it looks pretty great and sounds like it drives right now, and it does have that additional frame. I don't know, how hard is it to put a new frame on a car? I feel like all of these cars were body on frame, so is it that difficult to change that? What do you guys think? What do you know about that? All right, next up, we've got a 1965 Chevrolet Corvair listed for $8,500. It says that this car is a 6-cylinder, which I think all Corvairs are 6 cylinders, I believe. Maybe the early ones, there were some 4 cylinders. I don't know. What do you guys know about Corvairs? It's got a 4-speed. The listing does say that the car has been lowered. It does have new paint, a new top, new tires, 600 CFM new carburetor. Again, the interior here looks pretty good. I mean, and new paint is pretty nice. These Corvair engine bays are always so interesting looking with their sort of unique design and layout and the way that the carburetors are situated. I have to say, for me, I don't know that this color is a color that I would particularly want, but for $8,500, seems like it definitely an interesting deal. Next up, we've got a 1967 Ford Fairlane. And if you guys know out there, what is the difference between the Ford Fairlane and the Ford Galaxie? You see a lot of Galaxies, haven't seen as many Fairlanes out there. The listing says that this car is rust-free, but that it needs a new top and that it has faded paint, although in the pictures, the paint looks pretty good. Maybe just like a good wax job. Looks like it's got a 289 and it's an automatic car. It's also got Nevada plates on it, but it's listed in California, so I don't know whether it still has Nevada plates on it or what the deal is with that. It's kind of interesting. The interior here does look like it needs some work, but it looks serviceable. I mean, it definitely looks like you could use it. It's not totally out of the question, but there's definitely seems to be some tears in it. Door cards, at least that door card looks pretty good. The back seat really honestly looks like it could just be cleaned, or maybe the vinyl has dried out. Is that something that can be fixed? I don't know. And then here in this engine bay here, we've got this item right above the distributor. Is that normal for Fords, or what is that? Does anybody know what that is? Definitely has an aftermarket carburetor on it. I can see the Edelbrock back there. But to me, overall, this looks like a solid cruiser. And for $10,500, could be pretty interesting. So next up, we've got another 1965 Chevrolet Corvair, and this one's listed for $13,500. And looking at the pictures of this car, it looks incredible. The person who listed this car really went all out. They've got some great pictures. They show every single detail of the car. And I had a question too, if you know about Corvairs. What is this chrome piece here on the fuel filler? Is that something that was normal? Is that an option? Is that an aftermarket accessory? It's kind of a fun little piece, but I don't know what that's all about. The one thing with this car, and maybe why it's listed a little bit under what another Corvair might be listed at, is that it does say that it has a salvaged title. But just great pictures of this car. I mean, it just really makes you want to get this car. The listing does say that it has a newer black vinyl interior with black carpet, and I have to say the interior looks stunning in this car from the pictures. Of course, you'd have to see it for yourself to see what it is. The listing also says that the vehicle has newer suspension, along with tie rods, ball joints. But I mean, really, this one is a great looking car. Of course, there's the question about the salvage title, but it really looks like somebody put a lot of effort into making this car right. So my guess, I have no idea, but my guess is that whatever caused the salvage issue, either somebody put way too much effort into it, or they put a lot of effort into it because they knew that they could make it right. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that you would get a car like this with a salvage title? And this engine bay is wild. Looks like it's got a 4 carburetor setup with aftermarket air filters, but it's a really sweet looking setup. And here, this must be underneath the engine bay here. We've got a couple of shots of it. What is that? Is that just how Corvairs were set up, or what are those holes for? If you guys know, leave that down in the comments below. The trunk, or I guess the frunk of this car, is looking really clean. Looks really nice. Even the top is looking really nice on this car in that tan color. Here's an image of the underneath with the interior. Image of the dials. Closer image of what the odometer reads. Of course, on these older cars, you never know whether that's rolled over once or not. You know, whether it's 175,000 miles or 75,000 miles. The person who listed this car also had this drive video and a startup video and several other videos of doing a walk around the car. So that's pretty impressive. Gives you a lot of confidence that this person really believes in this car. But that's this 1965 Chevrolet Corvair. Really could be a really interesting option. Something that if I had the money for, would definitely be interested in. If you guys are interested in any of these listings, I'll link to where you can find them down in the description below. Next up is not a big car, but just the way that this car was presented, I just had to put it in this lineup of 1950s and 60s cars. Here we've got a 1958 Nash Metropolitan, and I just love this image here of it with the surfboard in the back. It just has such great California beach vibes. I think it's really awesome. And I mean, these Metropolitans are just such cute little cars too. And, you know, the nice blue and white coloring. I've never actually been in or driven a Metropolitan. If you guys have, let me know. What is it like to drive and own a Metropolitan? The interior looks a little dirty, I would say, but I don't know. Maybe that could be cleaned up. But it's a pretty nice looking interior other than that. And then here we've got an image of the engine bay with its tiny little 4-cylinder, which barely looks like it pokes up above where the wheel arches are, at least in this photo anyways. Next up, we've got a 1965 Ford Galaxie that's listed for $15,000. And there really isn't any information about this car in the listing. It just says that it's 8 cylinders and rear-wheel drive. But I do have to say, this is not my favorite year of Galaxies. I tend to like the 61, 62, and 63, in particular the 61. But just the color of this car and the interior look, it really makes this car a fabulous looking car. I mean, just look at that interior there. Those bucket seats, the center console. And again, this interior, at least from the pictures, looks pretty great too. You can see in this photo here, a couple of things. We've got a bunch of wires hanging out underneath the steering wheel, and then the cap over the steering wheel center is missing. But really, I mean, I don't know, with that interior and the color and the paint job, this looks like a really nice car. Of course, you'd have to go and see it for yourself to see whether it really is or not. But I mean, again, as I said, it's not my favorite year, but in this color, with this color combination, I'm kind of digging it. I kind of like it. Next up, we've got a 1963 Buick Skylark Special. Now, actually the listing says it's a deluxe Skylark Special. These photos aren't quite as clear as some of the other ones. The listing does mention that it has a build sheet, is 1963 mid-season, so I don't know whether the owner is trying to indicate that maybe this car is pretty original, or whether that's just the information that they're providing. I'm not sure there. It says it has a Borg-Warner T10 manual 4-speed transmission. So I don't know, if you know out there, is that a transmission that came with this car, or is that an aftermarket add-on? It also says it's got these old school Krager mag wheels with new tires. So like what vintage would these wheels be? That I don't know. I mean, they're pretty slick looking, but is that like 60s vintage? Is that 80s vintage? That I don't know. Again, here on this car, the interior looks pretty clean, which is nice. I don't know why in the listing here they chose to go black and white on these interior pictures, but hopefully that's not hiding anything. Hopefully that was just, how the camera spat out the images. I don't know. But one thing I do have to say in these listings is it's really important to get good photos. I mean, if you love this car and you want somebody else to love this car, you should have nice photos. And I think that the next listing really illustrates that. I've got a 1964 Buick LeSabre that's listed for $17,500, and we only have 2 real pictures of it. They're both really bad quality, but as somebody who might be interested in this car, I'd like to see more images rather than just these 2 images that you can barely make out. I mean, kind of the interior looks good, but this bright yellow color, the paint looks like it's really nice. And that's one thing I do have to say in looking at these listings is that, like that red 1965 Corvair, I mean, that makes me want to buy that car because there's so many pictures, so much to kind of drool over and look at. And they get a car like this, which might be a great car, but it's hard to say because you only have a couple of images. One thing I can say about looking at these listings is that good pictures really matter. I mean, the cars that have stuck with me the most, the cars that I've been thinking about, are the ones that have that really good image. And if you do need help with getting pictures for your classic car, I'm a photographer based in Los Angeles. Even if it's a project car, even if it needs some work, that's part of the fun. That's part of the intrigue of having a classic car for some people. So if you want to find out about my photography services, you can find out about that at realclassiccars.com. So let's keep going and looking at some more cars. So next up, we've got a 1967 Plymouth, is what the listing says, and I don't know what kind of a Plymouth this is. Is it a Plymouth Satellite? If you know, let me know down in the comments below. But it says that this car runs and drives great. It's got an original 283 engine with an automatic transmission. It's got many new parts, new convertible top and hydraulics, which that sounds great. A new 4-barrel Holley carburetor, Wildwood disc brakes, new AC. AC, that could be nice. I definitely, sometimes in the summertime, having the convertible top down is nice, but also sometimes having AC is nice. It's got new shocks, a new wiring harness, new wheels. Really seems like somebody put a lot of effort into this car. The interior here looks pretty good, although we can see that it looks like a lot of the dash is ripped out. It does look like from this picture, I'm guessing that the boxes in the back indicate that there's some additional parts there. It does say in the listing that this is a project car that's almost done, and that the wiring harness with instructions is already partially installed. So it does have a new wiring harness, but it might not be fully set up yet. It does have a clean title, no rust, according to the listing. The engine bay looks pretty clear. Here you can see, I guess, what is maybe part of the wiring harness issues. The rest of this console seems to be here that's missing out of the car. But this is a pretty nice looking car. I'm definitely more partial to cars 1965 and older, but I mean, this car does look clean. It could be a great project to sort of get it finished up and running. What do you guys think of the 1967 Plymouth Convertible, and also what kind of a Plymouth Convertible is it? Next up here, we've got another 1950s car. We've got a 1955 Buick Special listed for $19,995, and this one's in Torrance, California. And I have to say, I personally prefer the Buicks to the Chevrolets because I really like those 3 chrome holes on the side of the car. I just think it's a really kind of a cool look. And this listing here says that the car runs well. The front and rear bumpers are newly chromed. The underside is very clean and painted. It says it has a rare under-seat heater option. It does say it needs an interior, although, I mean, this picture, I guess, is showing us that it needs a new top. And it took me a while looking at this picture to figure out what's going on in this picture, but I'm not sure that those are the bumpers, maybe the new chromed bumpers that are sitting on the back of the car. It would really be nice to get like a nice shot of the interior. We do have this shot of the interior. It does seem to show some wear on the seats. It would be nice to see what the back seats look like. But I do like the dashboard in these older 50s cars with all the chrome and sort of like the interesting details that they've got to them. Kind of really cool looking. Get some information here on the build of the car. A little zoom in here on the Special, sort of showing the paint, showing the interior of the car. We've got several pictures of the sort of underside of the car and what's been painted. What do you guys think? Is that a good sign? Is that a bad sign? Does that mean the car has been like well restored? Or what do you think the painting underneath the car is. Is that just to keep it going? I mean, it definitely looks like a lot of time and effort has been spent on this car. And what do you guys think these hoses are for underneath the car? And then here's that mystery item that I showed in the beginning of the video. What is this? Is that the underseat heater? Why is this listing showing this piece, and what does it all mean? Now we're coming up to our last car, which is a 1965 Rambler Classic 770, listed for a little bit over $20,000 at $20,950. But this car definitely had some of the nicer pictures to get you enticed into looking at this car. I mean, this here just says cruising on Highway 1 in the summertime in California. Just really cool pictures. And in this listing, it says that the current owner is the third owner of the car. It's been the car's been very well cared for. The body is really straight, no rust according to the listing. And that this car came well optioned with power steering, power brakes, and an automatic transmission. And it has the original 327 V8 power plant. And that it runs really strong. It's finished in red, and the paint does look good, at least in the pictures anyways. It says that the car has some recent upgrades for trouble-free cruising, including new tires, fuel system, carburetor, pump, lines, brakes, master cylinder, boost, cooling system, radiator. I mean, this car really sounds like it's kind of ready to cruise. One thing I did notice in the pictures of this car is that you can see in this picture here, we've got one set of wheels on the car, and in these next two pictures, we've got different sets of wheels on the car. So actually it looks like these two pictures might even have two different sets of wheels. So I don't know what that's all about. Do you get all the wheels with the car, or did the owner change it out for these sort of newer wheels? I guess that's something that you'd have to check out the listing to find out about. If you're interested in getting any of these cars, you want to see if the listings are still available, you can head over to realclassiccars.com/A001, and I'll link directly to the listings for these cars. If you want to see another video that's listing some interesting classic cars for sale, check out this video right here.